Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Reincarnation for All. I Can Amplify Everything. Chapter 11. Ding. Do you want to consume 20 years of life to use the boost of all things on the target? The sound of system prompts sounded in Su Hao's ears, which made Su Hao's eyes light up slightly. Sure enough, this peculiar sword intent can also be amplified. Amplification. Ding. Trigger a 60-fold increase, and the Xuanian sword energy will increase to Xuanian sword intent. Su Hao chose the boost, and this time it triggered a 60-fold boost. This sword energy named Xuanian Sword Qi was directly sublimated into a higher level sword intent by the boost. Boom. Just when the increase was successful, the sword energy in Su Hao's body underwent a huge change, suddenly bursting with green light, like a jade carving, faintly forming a sword-shaped imprint. Ka. Not only that, the Xuanian sword intent amplified by the Xuanian sword Qi was divided into 2, then divided into 4, and finally turned into 12 sword intentions, engraved on Su Hao's body and skin. Circling surrounding him are nimble little fishes, like arms and fingers. Su Hao can control them at will. Through these 12 mysterious yin sword intents, Su Hao saw pictures, which are another world, belonging to the world of swords. There are countless sword practitioners in the world, but there are very few masters who have cultivated sword intent. Their sword intents have gathered into the world of swords, and in the sword world, the sword intents of masters in the world have gathered, and these sword intents may be pure, or vigorous, or evil. The most yin and evil in these sword intents are fused together, forming 12 sword intents that cannot be tolerated in the world. Each sword intent is a type of swordsmanship, and the 12 to evil sword intents contain 12 style swordsmanship, which is the most yin to evil Xuanian Su sword, the Xuanian 12 swords. This is the Xuanian sword intent, not the sword intent of this world, but the sword intent from the world of swords. Su Hao's body shook, and the scene he saw shocked him to the extreme. Terrible. It's too scary. There is such a sword technique in the world. On the surface of Su Hao's skin, there were 12 dark green sword-shaped traces swimming. This is the mysterious yin sword intent residing on his body. Su Hao was secretly shocked by the horror of this set of sword skills, which can be called peerless. Shui Shang, who was beheaded by Su Hao, had an adventure in his early years. He got an ancient sword. This ancient sword contained a mysterious sword energy from the world of swords, which he absorbed into his body by accident. It can be used to kill the enemy and become his whole card, but it costs 1 point less. Through the enhancement of all things, Su Hao directly amplified this Xuanian sword Qi into a higher level, inexhaustible Xuanian sword intent, and completely mastered this Xuanian sword intent that should not belong to this world. Wonderful. It's so wonderful. These 12 mysterious yin sword intents can be called infinitely mysterious. Su Hao felt it quietly. He was very excited. Try to see the power. Su Hao tried to activate a wisp of sword intent in his body, and with a slight swipe of his finger, there was a sound of piercing the air. A small black crack was cut in the void soundlessly, and it took several breaths to heal gradually. 12 Xuanian sword intents. The power of each Xuanian sword intent is more than 10 times stronger than the previous sword energy, and all 12 sword intents come out together. It's hard to imagine who can resist it. Even ordinary innate warriors can kill in an instant. Su Hao was also amazed at the power of the Xuanian sword intent. He couldn't do it with all his strength in this inn, otherwise the entire inn might be destroyed. Xuanian sword intent can not only attack, but also defend. With a slight movement of Su Hao's mind, on his body, 12 green sword intents lodged on his body were actually 3 feet away from the body, hovering endlessly on the surface of his body, like a set of armor, cutting the surrounding area. The space is distorted. Xuanian sword armor. This move is to activate the Xuanian sword intent to form armor, which not only has a strong defensive power, but if someone approaches his body, it will be torn into pieces by the sword intent in an instant. It can be attacked or defended. In addition, the 12 sword intents born in the world of swords, each of which contains a style of swordsmanship. Su Hao now wants to master this set of 12 mysterious swords. On Su Hao's body, the 12 mysterious yin swords were shining, and Su Hao was completely immersed in the comprehension of the 12 mysterious yin swords. If it is someone else, it is very difficult to learn a set of swordsmanship, but Su Hao's martial arts talent as a 1,000-year-old evildoer, plus the mysterious yin sword intent is directly lodged in Su Hao. with a foundation that others cannot match. Su Hao, the comprehension of Xuanian 12 swords can be said to be twice the result with half the effort. The 12 swords of Xuanian. There are a total of 12 sword moves, and now I have almost mastered them. When the time came to the morning 5 days later, Su Hao stretched himself with a slight smile on his face. These 12 moves of swordsmanship are unparalleled in the world, and they can run wild in the innate realm. Combined with the 9 yin mantra, his strength has climbed to a completely different level than before. Okay, let's continue on the road. Su Hao was in good spirits, left Qian town, and continued on the road to Daxia Imperial City. The matter of beheading Xueshang was just an episode for him. He reincarnated into this world not only to be famous, but to become the strongest, to leave an indelible mark on this world, and to do as much as possible. Influence the world, so that he will get a higher evaluation of the Reincarnation Tower. The capital of the Great Xia Dynasty. This place is the capital of the Great Xia Dynasty. It is extremely huge, with a resident population of more than tens of millions, mixed with fish and dragons, and countless capable people and strangers. Every citizen of the Great Xia Dynasty is eager to come here for pilgrimage and see the world. It's really majestic. A few days later, Su Hao arrived outside the Great Xia Imperial capital without any accidents. He was a little amazed at the 100-meter-high city wall in front of him. The 100-meter-high city wall needs to be looked up to see the top. This majestic, huge and indestructible city wall can reflect the background of the Great Xia Imperial capital. Su Hao calmed down and queued up to enter the city. This place is really bustling. Entering the imperial capital, Su Hao looked at the pedestrians coming and going on the street, and the street wide enough to accommodate 10 horse-drawn carriages running side by side. He also admired that this place is completely different from the small town he used to live in. A place. Su Hao wandered around the imperial capital aimlessly. For him, this was also a place to increase his knowledge. While Su Hao was wandering around, what he didn't know was that someone had noticed him. Among a group of people, 2 men with ordinary clothes and ordinary appearance looked at Su Hao on the street in the distance, and a young man on the left had a strange look in his eyes and said, "This man is a murderer. Su Hao of Dead Blood Hero. This boy is young. According to the information, he killed Xueshang with ease. He has the strength of the innate realm, and he may even be the disciple of the Dragon Transformation Grandmaster. Shall we go and meet him now?" A bearded man on the right nodded slightly. It is not a secret that Su Hao beheaded Xueshang. Someone in Qian town passed the news on that day, and they, as members of the intelligence agency of the Great Xia Dynasty, also knew the news immediately. Su Hao, when they entered the city, they got the news that they wanted to meet Su Hao and see if Su Hao was really that extraordinary. For the Great Xia Dynasty to prosper forever, of course it needs to constantly recruit talents, and Su Hao is obviously the talent in their eyes. Well, go meet him. The young man nodded in agreement, ready to meet Su Hao. Wait, it's Zhao Feng, the Bloody Hand. How did he appear here? However, the young man didn't move yet, and the bearded man beside him pulled him back with his pupils constricted violently. He saw an appearance in front of Su Hao. A well-built man. Who are you? What's the matter? At this time, Su Hao also looked at the burly man who appeared in front of him and blocked his way. He said suspiciously, he didn't know this person. The burly man stared at Su Hao, and he said expressionlessly, "My name is Zhao Feng, and I am Xueshang's senior brother. My master wants to meet you, so follow me if you have the guts, and run for your life if you don't. Such cowardly people are not qualified to meet my master." The burly man just said such a sentence, then turned around and left. Chapter 12. Xueshang's senior brother. Su Hao was surprised when he heard this. Xueshang died in the hands of Su Hao not long ago, but Xueshang himself was a master of martial arts, and he was a blacklisted devil, but he was not without background. The reason why Xueshang showed up was because Xueshang's master was located in the imperial city and wanted to see Su Hao. Xueshang himself is the leader of the blacklist. He is almost invincible by nature, and he can teach a disciple like Xueshang. Xueshang's master is definitely not an ordinary person. And the other party wanted to see Su Hao, and judging from Zhao Feng's attitude, he was obviously hostile, otherwise Zhao Feng would not have said that he would follow him if he had the guts. Interesting. Su Hao smiled, and followed without hesitation. He came to the great Xia Emperor capital to make a name for himself and leave an indelible mark on this world. This blood hero's master seems to seek revenge on him, so go will meet each other. Not good. This bloody Zhao Feng is Shuishang's senior brother. Is he going to take Su Hao to meet their master Shuibawang? The expressions of the two men who were going to meet Su Hao changed slightly when they saw this scene. Outsiders don't know who Shuishang, the blacklisted devil, learned from, but they, as members of the intelligence agency, know it clearly. Shui Shang's master is Shui Wuan, the blood overlord. Shui Wuan, this is a long-established innate strongman. He has always been merciless in his attacks, and his strength is extremely tyrannical. The most famous battle was the siege of 10 innate strongmen 10 years ago. 10. Kill and injure half of the opponent, and the remaining 5 innate powerhouses also flee. After this battle, Shui Wuan was judged as possessing the combat effectiveness of the heaven ranking, and was called the Blood Overlord, ranking 107th in the heaven ranking. The so-called Tianbang, only the strongest group of innate warriors can be listed on it, and there are 120 strongest innate warriors recorded on it. It can be said that these warriors ranked in the heaven list are basically the strongest under the Dragon Transformation Grandmaster, and each of them is famous, powerful in the world. Now that the Blood Overlord appeared in the imperial capital of Great Xia, if he wanted to see Su Hao, he obviously wanted to settle accounts with Su Hao. Follow up and have a look. I hope this Blood Overlord won't go too far. Looking at each other, the bearded man said, and decided to follow and have a look. A strange look appeared on Su Hao's face, because the place Zhao Feng took him was not other places, but a sensual brothel. An attic stands in a very prosperous area, with the 3 big characters Tianxianglo written on the plaque. The smell of rouge wafting from it can be felt from a long distance, and the sound of singing and dancing can be heard. Today, Tianxianglo is a famous sensual place in the imperial capital, and many powerful people linger here. Master, come and eat the grapes that Qinger peeled. In Tianxiang building, a tall and burly man with loose hair, embraced from left to right, enjoyed the service of beauties, and looked at the graceful dancers in the field, smiling all over his face, and seemed to be in a good mood. Master, he is here. At this time, Zhao Feng entered the Misty Rain building, and said respectfully to the rough man. Crack. The rough man clapped his hands. Hearing the applause that seemed to contain some kind of magical power, the dancers and other guests in the venue unconsciously burst into blood, and stopped making noise. Looking at the rough man, each face all of them looked horrified. The rough man clapped his hands and made the noise of the entire Misty Rain Tower stand still. This level of cultivation is so deep that it is absolutely unfathomable, far beyond ordinary people's imagination. This person is very strong. Seeing this scene, Su Hao squinted his eyes slightly. This rough man is very powerful. He is definitely not an unknown person, and the other party is probably Shuishang's master. The rough man looked at Su Hao lazily. He looked up and down, and said lightly, "Look at your appearance. You just entered the innate realm recently. My name is Shui Wuan. I heard that you killed me disciple Shuishang. Blood without trace. Who is this?" Su Hao was a little dazed when he heard the rough man announce his name. He didn't know the masters in this world. Blood Overlord is the Blood Overlord. The Blood Overlord is the strongest in the heaven list. I heard that he once defeated 10 innate warriors in one battle. Didn't he live in the Lingjiang area all year round? How did he appear here? Su Hao didn't know the name of Shui Wuan. In Tianxiang building, the rest of the guests all changed their faces. They were not ordinary people who could visit Tianxiang building. Hearing the voices of the people around him, Su Hao barely knew that Shui Wuan was not just a simple character, but a famous top martial artist. Facing Shui Wuan's question, Su Hao said truthfully, "That's right, I killed Shuishang." Seeing Su Hao's quick confession, the corners of Shui Wuan's mouth twitched slightly. "Very well, Shuishang is not considered a master among all my disciples, but he is usually very filial to me. You killed him, and now I give you 2 options. Kneel down and kowtow to me 3 times to make amends, and I will forgive you. Or, fight with me and die by my hands." Shui Wuan sat on the chair, hugging left and right, exuding a sense of domineering, looking down at Su Hao. During the conversation, only two choices were given to Su Hao: kneel down and kowtow to make amends in full view, or die in the hands of Shui Wuan. This boy offended the Blood Overlord. I'm afraid it will be difficult to leave alive today. That's right. With the character of the Blood Overlord, it is impossible to let him go away alive. Even if he kowtows to apologize, he will only die. In Tianxiang Building, the eyes of all the dignitaries were sympathetic. The boy in black offended Shui Wuan, and it seemed that Shui Wuan had given him a way to survive. He just knelt down and kowtowed to cancel it. But in fact, Shui Wuan just wanted to humiliate him. Even if the young man knelt down to make amends, Shui Wuan would kill him. Shui Wuan is a man who must take revenge, and he will definitely not let Su Hao go today. Shui Wuan looked at Su Hao playfully. It was rumored that Su Hao had an innate level of cultivation, but Shui Wuan didn't take Su Hao seriously at all. Although Shui Wuan looks very young on the outside, he is actually 120 years old this year. As early as 40 or 50 years ago, his cultivation had already reached the peak of the 10 heavenly heavens, ranking 107th in the heavenly list. It would be no more difficult for Shui Wuan to crush an ordinary innate warrior than to crush an ant. Hearing this, Su Hao had a strange look on his face. He looked at Shui Wuan with disdain. You are called the Blood Overlord. In my eyes, you are a bastard. If you want to seek revenge from me, I welcome it, but you have to save your life. Come down. Su Hao unceremoniously called Shui Wuan a bastard, which undoubtedly caused the brains of everyone in the hall to crash. This kid is really not afraid of death. After the words fell, Su Hao didn't have any more nonsense, and directly chose to do it. Laugh. With the index finger and middle finger of Su Hao's right hand together, he stabs forward, a ray of green sword intent flickers, and an aura of darkness and evil pervades the air, making the entire Tianxiang Tower as cold as an ice cave. People feel that the thinking of the brain seems to be frozen. Mysterious yin sword intent. A Xuanian sword intent shot out from Su Hao's fingertips, tearing apart the void, and slashed straight at Shui Wuan. Get out of the way. Shui Wuan's originally relaxed face changed instantly. He could perceive the most yin and evil artistic conception in this sword intent, as if it did not come from this world. Blooming, the beautiful woman in his arms and the bloody Zhao Feng were shocked to fly back to the surroundings, and he himself punched out, forcibly shaking the Xuanian sword intent. Boom. Amidst the violent explosion, two tyrannical forces collided together, forming a strong hurricane, which strangled the nearby tables and chairs to pieces, just like a thunderbolt exploded in the flat ground, and it was clear and visible for miles around. Smell. Boom. But Shui Wuan let out a muffled snort, and a domineering force hit him, and the impacted Shui Wuan flew backwards, smashing a stone pillar with carved beams and painted buildings in Tianxiang Building, and there was still a lot of potential left. Flying upside down, the wall was pierced, and the whole person flew out of Tianxiang Tower directly, and smashed into the lake behind Tianxiang Tower, splashing huge water. Chapter 13. Ah! Someone fell. Tianxiang Tower is close to the lake, and there are many tourists outside the lake on weekdays. At this time, someone on the shore of the lake saw the splashing water in the distance and exclaimed. This. Blood Hand Zhao Feng stared at this scene dumbfounded. His master, the Blood Overlord, had been in the rivers and lakes for many years, but today he suffered a disadvantage at the hands of a young man. He was beaten upside down and fell into the lake. How can it be? In Tianxiang Building, a group of guests originally thought that Su Hao was going to be unlucky today, but in a blink of an eye, Su Hao suppressed the blood tyrant face to face, which completely made them feel like they were hallucinating. In the lake near Tianxiang Tower, the water was surging, and Shui Wuan jumped up from it. Standing on the lake, his gangster energy was condensed on the soles of his feet, and he did not fall at all. He roared. Boy, you have angered me. Either you die or I die today. Is it the Blood Overlord? Are my eyes blurred? It was Su Hao who made the blood tyrant so embarrassed. The two officials of the Great Xia dynasty arrived at this time, and when they saw Shui Wuan roaring angrily on the lake, they were both dumbfounded and felt a little dry. Shui Wuan came to seek revenge on Su Hao, but it seemed that they met at once. I suffered a little. It will only be you who will die today, not me. In front of the hole that was knocked out in Tianxiang Building, Su Hao said flatly. He himself jumped down from the hole, his body was like a light feather, and landed on the lake without splashing. make the slightest disturbance. The Blood Overlord wants to fight this young man. It looks like this is a battle of life and death. Inside the Tianxiang building, all the dignitaries, regardless of their identities, squeezed into the window to watch the two confronting each other on the lake, and even the entire surrounding of the lake, the pedestrians and warriors who were disturbed by the noise all had burning eyes. One side is the long-established warrior Blood Overlord, and the other side is a young man whom no one knows, but just by looking at the lightness and skill of the other party who can stand on the water without falling, one can tell that it is not a simple role. The life and death battle between the two sides is simply a big scene that is difficult for ordinary people to see in this lifetime. I admit that I underestimated you, but today you will definitely die. Shui Wuan looked at Su Hao. His eyes were full of coldness. Su Hao's strength is very strong, and that powerful sword intent can even injure people from the body, which is quite weird, but with his Shui Wuan's strength, no matter who the opponent is, there is only one dead end. Really, I hope you don't let me down. Su Hao's eyes were full of fighting spirit. This Shui Wuan was already one of the few masters in this world, basically the strongest under the Dragon Transformation Grandmaster. I believe that killing Shui Wuan will greatly improve my evaluation of this reincarnation trial. Master, take the knife. On the Tianxiang Tower, Zhao Feng, the bloody hand, shouted, throwing a war knife wrapped in a scabbard at Shui Wuan. Zhao Feng instinctively felt that Su Hao was terrifying, and felt that Shui Wuan had to use his good sword skills to be safe against the enemy. Clang! Shui Wuan caught his own saber, and the saber came out of its sheath. Glaring cold light flickered, and he threw the sheath aside. The blood in his eyes surged. Fewer and fewer. Blood demon knife. Kill. Shui Wuan let out a low growl, and the qi in his body poured into the sword, and the whole blade was immediately rendered blood red, and a pungent bloody smell permeated the air. Everyone was shocked to find that the lake under his feet seemed to have turned into a sea of blood. Chila. With a low roar, Shui Wuan slashed out. The water surface was cut, and the blood-red saber aura rode the wind and waves, and slashed straight at Su Hao, intending to split one into two. This bloodless knife is for real. Laugh. Su Hao didn't seem to react. His body was divided into two from the middle, but it was just an afterimage. Spiral 9 Shadows. Su Hao appeared in front of Shui Wuan at some point, and his body was divided into 9 parts. It is the ultimate lightness skill Spiral 9 Shadows recorded in the 9 Yin manual. Divided into 9, true and false are hard to tell. 9 Yin God Claw. The 4 cyclones in Su Hao's body rotated, pushing the 9 Yin Gang Qi to its peak, and a pair of claws howled like a dark wind, glowing with green light, intertwined with claw shadows all over the sky, and attacked and killed Shui Wuan. Blood Lotus. 9 figures flew around, completely enveloping Shui Wuan, but Shui Wuan was not an easy person. He used the bleeding magic knife technique that focused on defense. Like a blood-colored lotus in full bloom, it is airtight. Clang clang clang. Su Hao's claws collided with the saber, and the sound of metal crashing was endless for a while. Rumble. The collision of the two surges of stellar qi caused the aftermath to make the water waves in a circle of more than 10 feet above the lake's surface, like bombs constantly exploding in it. Is this the battle of innate powerhouses? It's too scary. It's not like a human being. A random blow can destroy a house. It is indeed the innate realm that claims to be able to defeat 10,000. On the lake, in the Tianxiang building, all the people who saw this battle did not blink their eyes, for fear of missing this amazing battle, and they were even more shocked by the strength of the innate warriors. First-class warriors basically claim to be able to defeat 100 with one, while innate warriors can charge and kill among thousands of armies, powerful non-human beings. Su Hao's battle with Shui Wuan explained the horror of innate warriors. However, this boy's cultivation base is quite far behind Shui Wuan, and he will be suppressed by Shui Wuan. And among the crowd of warriors, there are also some strong men with vision. They can see that Su Hao is far behind Shui Wuan in terms of skill. That's true. Su Hao himself is only a first-level congenital, and he is considered a beginner, while Shui Wuan himself has reached the peak of the 10th level congenital, not to mention other things. Just in terms of strength, the strength of a congenital warrior will skyrocket every time he is promoted to first-level heaven 10,000 caddies. In other words, Shui Wuan's physical fitness is 10 times that of Su Hao's. Chapter 14. A double gap is basically the gap between an adult and a child, let alone a nearly 10-fold gap. Su Hao was able to deal with Shui Wuan purely by relying on the mystery of the Spiral 9 Shadows body technique and the unloading skills of the 9 Yin manual, but after a long battle, he will definitely lose the wind gradually. The sea of blood is overwhelming. Shui Wuan roared in the arena. He held the knife in one hand and set off a monstrous wave of blood. Every wave of blood was an indestructible knife aura. Chi chi chi. The afterimage of Su Hao's Spiral 9 Shadows was torn apart by the wave-like saber energy, and this type of large-scale attack was unavoidable. Zan Yin's sword armor. Although Su Hao was also surprised by Shui Wuan's power, he didn't panic. He activated the 12 Xuanian sword intents in his body, forming a set of sword armor that hovered around his body, watertight. Boom boom boom. The collision of saber chi and sword intent made the Xuanian sword armor tremble slightly, and then these waves of saber chi were strangled to pieces. Even my move can prevent it. Shui Wuan looked at this scene in astonishment. He used this ultimate move, which once defeated 10 innate warriors to join forces, and Su Hao took it head on. Shui Wuan's strength belongs to the top level in the Shantian realm. With my cultivation base, I can activate the Xuanian sword intent to form a sword armor protection. I will definitely not be able to withstand his heavy blows for a long time. I need to take the initiative to attack. Su Hao also understands that if he keeps on for a long time, he will lose, especially if his cultivation base is not as good as that of Shui Wuan. He will be the one who loses if he wears it down. Thinking of this, Su Hao let out a long cry. Shui Wuan, you are the first person to experience this set of sword techniques, and you are lucky to die under this set of sword techniques. Facing Shui Wuan, Su Hao must use all his strength. The 12 swords of Xuanian, this set of the most evil swordsmanship comprehended from the meaning of the 12 Xuanian swords, Su Hao will use it for the first time to face Shui Wuan. Enemy. Call. Su Hao stretched out his hand, and the Gang Qi in his body spun, drawing out the lake water, injecting sword intent into it, and condensing it into a green long sword with a faint light in his hand. Su Hao, who has mastered the Xuanian sword intent, has the ability to turn decay into magic. Even a blade of grass, or a leaf, can be transformed into an invincible magic weapon under the infusion of his sword intent. Zan Yin's number 1 sword. Heaven and earth's only my sword. Holding the water sword in his hand, Su Hao unleashed the first of the Xuanian 12 swords. Laugh. There was a sound of piercing through the air, and Su Hao stabbed out with a sword. At this moment, the turbulent water waves stopped. Everyone stopped breathing, everything in the world seemed to disappear, only Su Hao's sword was the only one. What? Even Shui Wuan lost his mind for a moment because of this terrible sword. He bit his tongue hastily, broke away from the influence of the sword intent, and quickly swung the blood demon knife in his hand to resist Su Hao's sword move. Boom. The tip of the sword collided with the blade, and the roar of 12 sword intents made Su Hao's sword burst out with extremely powerful power. Shui Wuan let out a muffled grunt, one arm was numb from the shock, and his body staggered back. Looking carefully, the blade of the blood demon knife in Shui Wuan's hand was missing a piece, which shows how terrifying this sword is. Xuanian's second sword. Tianlei guides my sword. Su Hao didn't give Shui Wuan a chance to breathe. His black hair flew up, and the Xuanian sword condensed with sword intent and water was held high in his hand. There was thunder roaring in the sky, and the green thunder lingered above the Xuanian sword. This sword is to guide the thunder that exists in the void to gather on the sword body, and unleashes a powerful blow. Boom. Amidst the rumbling thunder, Su Hao followed closely with a sword, slashing towards Shui Wuan, causing ripples all over the sky. Block me. Shui Wuan gritted his teeth. This time he held the knife in both hands, and the chi of the innate 10 heavens turned to the peak, turning the surrounding into a blood-colored hell, as if there was a rain of blood flying, to meet Su Hao's amazing sword. Clang. Colliding again, Shui Wuan only felt a piercing sword intent piercing into his body, causing his whole body to be paralyzed. Facing the thunder blow, Shui Wuan groaned unbearably. It was severed by Su Hao's sword. How is it possible? Shui Wuan staggered back on the water surface, almost unable to maintain his own breath, fell into the lake, looked at the half-blade in his hand. Shui Wuan's face was pale, and he couldn't imagine that his knife would die for a swordsman. The interruption of the battle with others is simply a humiliation as uncomfortable as death. The seventh sword of Xuanian. Dazzling Wozer Mie. Su Hao showed no mercy in the face of the desperate Shui Wuan, and unleashed the ultimate move of Xuanian swordsmanship. Then he saw the Xuanian sword in Su Hao's hand glowing with a faint light. All those who watched the sword, including Shui Wuan himself, were affected by the sword's intent at this moment, lost their vision, and turned into a boundless darkness in front of them. No. Not good. Although Shui Wuan broke free from the darkness in less than a breath, his pupils constricted and he realized something was wrong. Puff. In the next moment, Su Hao appeared in front of Shui Wuan at some unknown time, and a sword passed across his neck silently. I will be defeated by a young man. Shui Wuan's head soared into the sky, rolling in the air, with unwillingness still remaining in his eyes. He was a dignified blood without trace, a strong man in the heaven list, the strongest group of fighters under the Dragon Transformation Grandmaster, but today he died in the hands of a young man, and became the stepping stone for this young man to become famous. How could he be willing? It's a pity that no matter how unwilling you are, you can't change the ending of defeat. Plop. Shui Wuan's head rolled several times in the air and fell into the lake. The blood spread, dyeing the nearby lake red, and Shui Wuan's headless corpse also lost its support and was about to fall into the lake. But Su Hao grabbed the shoulder. This is the corpse of a congenital peak warrior, and it is a great supplement to Su Hao who has mastered the Biming divine art. Ding. Kill Shui Wuan, a martial artist on the Tianbang list, and your evaluation of this reincarnation trial will increase. A system notification sounded in Su Hao's ears. Killing Shui Wuan, a well-known figure in this reincarnation world, is equivalent to killing a boss. Improve a lot. Master is dead. Inside Tianxiang building, Zhao Feng, the bloody hand who witnessed this scene, swayed, his face full of bewilderment and disbelief, and he knelt softly on the ground. His master Shui Wuan has been famous for many years. In Zhao Feng's view, no one can kill him unless the master of Huolong takes action, but now he was beheaded by a young man in front of his eyes and fell on the spot. Chapter 15. The Blood Overlord is dead. Died at the hands of a young man. How is this possible? Could it be that the Blood Overlord is a fake? And the people who witnessed the whole battle were also immersed in the shock of the battle just now, and some even suspected that the Blood King might be a fake, otherwise how could he have died in the hands of a young man? Of course, they also understand that the Blood Overlord is not a fake, nor is it that he is weak, but that Su Hao's strength is too strong. Die on the spot. The 12 swords of Xuanian do not belong to the mortal world, but were born in the sword world formed by the sword intent of countless kendo fighters. It can be said that it is the world's most supreme and evil swordsmanship. It was fought in the hands of Su Hao become famous. Because Shui Wuan came to seek revenge on Su Hao, everyone thought that there was no suspense in this battle, but no one could have imagined that the loser would be the Blood Overlord, who would be beheaded by Su Hao with 3 swords. This Su Hao must be drawn into our dynasty. Yes, even if his master is not a master of dragon transformation, one day he may be able to become a master of dragon transformation. He must win over at any cost. And the 2 officials of the Great Xia dynasty, who witnessed the whole battle, looked at each other, and they both saw the heat and excitement in each other's eyes. It was originally rumored that Su Hao might be a disciple of an unknown dragon master. After all, they had investigated before. Su Hao was born in a small village. If he can rise suddenly, he must be taught by an expert. To attract him is to attract him. A dragon master. But now Su Hao's frightening strength is displayed. He doesn't look like he is 20 years old, but he is killing Shui Wuan and other strong men who are on the top of the list. Be able to become a master of dragon transformation. Master of dragon transformation is the top combat power in this world, basically equivalent to a human-shaped nuclear bomb. A Grandmaster of Transformation Dragon can easily enter the most heavily guarded imperial city and take anyone's head, even in the face of hundreds of thousands of people. People besiege, but also can leave easily. Only the Grandmaster of Huolong can contend against the Grandmaster of Huolong. It can be said that for the existence of a dynasty, the Dragon Transformation Grandmaster is indispensable. This is a deterrent. Even if the royal family declines, the existence of the Dragon Transformation Grandmaster is enough to deter all directions. Go back immediately and tell Mr. Shangguan Nan to come and see him in person. Su Hao had just experienced a big battle, and the two didn't go to see Su Hao immediately, knowing that their weight was not enough, and they needed a higher level big shot to do it. I believe Su Hao's battle with Shui Wuan today will soon spread throughout the entire imperial capital. And Su Hao left with Shui Wuan's body, and directly booked an inn with the gold, silver and jewelry that Shui Wuan carried, and stayed in it. My cultivation base is still weak. The Xuanian 12 swords have almost exhausted their internal strength after only using 3 swords. If this Shui Wuan lasts a few more times, I will probably be the one who loses. Inside the inn, Su Hao let out a sigh of relief. In fact, he was in a hurry to leave because he had reached his limit. The Xuanian 12 swords are strong, but they also consume a lot of energy. With Su Hao's innate cultivation base of the first level, he can use up almost all his internal energy after 3 or 4 times of casting. First, refine the internal force in the blood tyrant's body. In the inn, without hesitation, Su Hao began to extract the power from the blood overlord body with the Biming divine art and refine it. Shui Wuan's cultivation base has reached the peak of the 10 heavenly layer, which can be regarded as a great tonic for Su Hao, which can make Su Hao's cultivation base skyrocket. Wisps of Gang Qi were absorbed into Su Hao's body and refined into pure 9 yin Gang Qi, which impacted the 5th orifice point, and Su Hao's cultivation base also rose steadily. With the opening of the 5th orifice point, the 9 yin cyclone was condensed, and a steady stream of 9 yin Gang Qi was born. Su Hao quickly broke through from the first level of innate level to the second level of innate level, and continued to enter the third level of heaven. There is still room for improvement. But Su Hao was still not satisfied, and began to hit the 6th acupoint in his body. At this time, Shui Wuan's cultivation had only been refined by 1/3. Boom! The 6th acupoint was opened, the 6th 9 yin cyclone was condensed, and Su Hao's cultivation was like a rocket, soaring all the way to the realm of the 5th innate heaven. Phew! Breaking 2 chapters at once, entering the 5th level of innate heaven, and a few more masters like Shui Wuan will make me reach innate consummation. Su Hao let out a sigh of relief, quite satisfied with the harvest this time. With the help of Biming divine art to absorb the pure power of Shui Wuan, Su Hao quickly completed the 6th chapter of the 9 yin manual, and his cultivation base also skyrocketed congenital 5 heavens. The strength has at least increased several times compared to before. Tuk tuk. The time came to the next morning, and the door of the inn where Su Hao lived was knocked. What's up? Su Hao opened the door and saw a man in uniform standing at the door, who was the waiter of the inn. Shower said very respectfully, "My lord, someone wants to see you." He calls himself Shangguan Nan. He has a very noble status. He is accompanied by fully armed guards. He should be from the imperial city. Come to look for me. People from the imperial city. Su Hao was not surprised when he heard the words. He killed the blood overlord yesterday, and his reputation quickly spread throughout the entire imperial capital. In the city, someone wanted to win him over. Go and meet him. Su Hao didn't hesitate, and led by Shower to a hall. In the hall, there was only one person sitting quietly, that was a middle-aged scribe with a refined temperament. When he saw Su Hao, he immediately stood up, and said with a smile on his face, "This is Shangguanan, a member of Zhan Tianzi. I came to see Mr. Su at the order of Emperor Xia." Zhan Tianzi, this is an institution directly under Xia Huang's orders, and there are a large number of capable people and strangers gathered in it, and Shangguan Nan is the head of Zhan Tianzi. He came to see Su Hao in person, and it was Feng Xia. The emperor's order shows that the imperial city attaches great importance to Su Hao. I've met Mr. Shangguan, but I don't know what I'm looking for. Su Hao nodded slightly. He didn't like politeness, and let Shangguan get straight to the point. Seeing the situation, Shangguan Nan didn't talk nonsense. He said straight to the point. "Mr. Su, I am here this time to invite Mr. Su to the imperial city as a guest at the order of Emperor Xia. If Mr. Su has any requests, we will do our best to meet them, satisfy." As soon as these words came out, Su Hao was also a little moved. They would satisfy any request. This promise is undoubtedly extremely heavy. Shangguan Nan was also surprised that this incident would alarm Emperor Sha, but it's normal to think about it. Su Hao has shown a battle strength at the level of the Tianbang at a young age, and he is likely to become a dragon master in the future. No promises are too much. Especially now that the Emperor Sha is already near the end of his life. Once he dies, the battle for succession will definitely cause huge waves. There will even be people with ulterior motives intervening in the battle of the royal family. The royal family urgently needs more powerful people to sit in command, otherwise the imperial power will everything may be subverted, and the world will be in chaos. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Chapter 16. Okay, then I'll go. Su Hao nodded without hesitation. Su Hao came to the Great Sha imperial capital this time to seek greater achievements and enter the imperial city. With the help of the Great Sha dynasty's power, he can get what he wants, and it must be able to improve his strength quickly. Okay, Mr. Su, this way please. Su Hao agreed so easily. Shangguan Nan was overjoyed and invited Su Hao to the imperial city again and again. There were already guards and carriages waiting outside the inn. Su Hao and Shangguan Nan took the carriage and headed for the imperial city, the center of the imperial capital. Great Sha Imperial City. This can be said to be the most heavily guarded place in the entire Great Sha dynasty. It is guarded by heavily armed soldiers. The people living here are some royal family members such as princes and princesses. Emperor's Special Institution. Master Su, this palace will belong to you from now on. You can come to me anytime if you have any orders. Shangguan Nan led Su Hao all the way into the heavily guarded imperial city, and stopped outside a luxurious palace. This palace was equipped with hundreds of guards and more than 10 servants. The treatment was almost the same as that of some royal families. It means that you can find him if you have any orders. Su Hao was not polite about this. He said directly, the imperial city must have collected many martial arts cheats, right? I want to check it out. Su Hao has mastered the 9 yin scriptures and the Xuanian sword intent, but if he wants to break through the realm of the dragon transformation master, he must make himself perfect, and there must be a large number of martial arts classics collected in this imperial city, and some of them must be useful to Su Hao of. Shangguan Nan was not surprised when he heard that. Su Hao is a martial artist, and it is natural to be interested in treasures related to martial arts. Well, please come with me, and I will take you to the place where martial arts classics are collected in the imperial city. Shangguan Nan took Su Hao non-stop to the Kengjing Pavilion in the imperial city, where a large number of precious martial arts classics were collected, and even some princes and princesses were not allowed to enter and leave at will without permission. However, Shangguan Nan was ordered by Emperor Sha to satisfy all Su Hao's requirements, in order to win Su Hao over and make friends with him. If Su Hao enters the realm of Dragon Transformation Grandmaster in the future, it will surely ensure the prosperity of the royal family for thousands of years. Please come in, both of you. Shangguan Nan took out a token engraved with a golden dragon seal, and respectfully let the two of them enter by the guard guarding the Sutra Pavilion. Inside the Sutra Pavilion, there are rows of bookshelves, each with a book on it. There are a total of more than 1,300 martial arts classics in this Sutra Pavilion. Those who can enter the Sutra Pavilion in the imperial city are all quite mysterious martial arts. Mr. Su can read them as much as he wants. Shangguan Nan introduced to Su Hao. More than 1,300 martial arts classics. Even the top martial arts sect in the world may not have as many martial arts classics as the imperial city. Xuanli sword technique, Wenshan saber technique, marriage dress divine art, Vajra subduing demon art. Su Hao looked at the martial arts secret books on the bookshelf, and he was also shocked. There are all kinds of martial arts classics, and even some martial arts that have been lost to the outside world can be found here. However, these martial arts are too many, and 99% of them are not of much use to Su Hao. In terms of weapon methods, Su Hao has the Xuanian 12 swords, and in terms of internal skills, Su Hao has the 9 yin manual. These martial arts are not of much use. I need a method that can strengthen my body. Su Hao also knows what he needs. His internal strength method has the 9 yin manual, but his physical strength is about the same as that of ordinary innate warriors. If this is the case, he should make up for his shortcomings and practice a martial arts that can strengthen his body. Black Stone Demon Body. Diamond Body, Blood Demon Body. In this Sutra Pavilion, there are also many martial arts for practicing the body. Su Hao checked them one by one, and these martial arts also have their own characteristics. In the end, Su Hao's gaze was fixed on one of the martial arts secret books. Dragon Elephant Wisdom Skill. This martial art is exactly the famous Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu. Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu can be said to be a martial art that almost everyone knows. Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu comes from Tantric Buddhism. It is a pure martial art for cultivating the physical body, and it is said that it can possess the divine power of 13 dragon elephants when it is cultivated to the 13th level of perfection. But the reason why the Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu is so famous is not only because of the strength of the Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu, but also because of its difficulty in cultivation. If people with ordinary qualifications practice Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu, if they are willing to work hard, they will be able to practice the first level in 1 or 2 years, and the time required to practice the second level will be doubled, and it will take 3 to 4 years. It may take 7 or 8 years to practice to reach the third level, and the difficulty and the energy required for each level will double in the future. After careful calculation, it will take thousands of years of hard work to cultivate to the 13th level. Of course, this is the time it takes for ordinary people to practice. With Su Hao's 1000-year level talent for cultivation, the time spent will be 10 or 100 times faster than others. Just choose this Dragon Elephant Wisdom skill. Su Hao chose Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu. Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu. Every level of this martial art is practiced, it can increase the strength of 10,000 catties. If a martial artist at the peak of innate practice it to the 13th level, a single arm can burst out more than 200,000 catties of divine power. Can easily crush warriors of the same level. Mr. Su really has a good eye. Shangguan Nan, who was on the side, said in admiration when he saw Su Hao choose this martial art. But Shangguan Nan also knew in his heart that if the Dragon Elephant Prajna skill is strong, it will be strong, but cultivation is too difficult. If you want to go from beginner to perfection, even if you have good aptitude, it may take at least 30 to 50 years. Well, let's go back first. Su Hao nodded, and left the Sutra Pavilion with Shangguan Nan, returning to the palace where he lived. Sigh. I don't know how much time is left. Now that Emperor Sha is dead, there must be a big chaos. Shangguan Nan looked at Su Hao's back, and he sighed. He could foresee that the near future would inevitably bring chaos to the world. Back in the palace where he lived, Su Hao began to retreat and study this Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu for cultivating the physical body. Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu is a method for purely cultivating the physical body. Every time it is completed, the strength of the physical body will increase by 10,000 catties. When it is practiced to perfection, you will have a powerful physical body that surpasses innate perfection. Su Hao flipped through the Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu. Under normal circumstances, one can have the strength of a single arm of 100,000 catties if one achieves innate consummation, but if one attains consummation by practicing the Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu, one can have more than double the strength of other innate consummations. It's already a huge gap, let alone fully doubled. But Su Hao was not satisfied, his eyes glowed brightly. I don't know how far I can amplify this Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu with my all-enhancing talent. Su Hao's amplification of all things talent is not without limitations. In addition to the energy consumption required to use it, the same item can only be amplified once, and cannot be superimposed infinitely, but even so, it is amazing. Ding! Do you want to consume 20 years of life to use the boost of all things on the target? Amplify. Su Hao chose to use the augmentation on the Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu, and he can perform 4 augmentations with his remaining lifespan. Chapter 17. Ding! Trigger a 60-fold increase, and the Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu will be strengthened into the Dragon Elephant Prajna Golden Body Kung Fu. Su Hao consumed 20 years of lifespan and used the boost to the Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu. During the sound of the system prompt, the Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu cheat book in front of me changed, from the original Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu to the Dragon Elephant Prajna Golden Body Kung Fu, and even the books became simple and simple. Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu is already very extraordinary, what can it achieve after strengthening and increasing it? There was also a trace of excitement and anticipation on Su Hao's face. The dragon elephant prajna kung fu is a very powerful technique for cultivating the physical body, and it can definitely produce a qualitative change after the enhancement of his talent for the enhancement of all things. Dragon elephant prajna golden body kung fu, cultivating the power of dragon and elephant, and refining the body of gold, is divided into 13 layers. With each layer refined, the strength of the physical body will skyrocket by 100,000 caddies, reaching the peak in perfect state, just like casting a dragon. Like a golden body, it smashes the mountains, rivers and earth with the raising of hands and feet. After flipping through the brand new Dragon Elephant Wisdom Golden Body technique, Su Hao's face was uncontrollably moved, showing a look of shock. The original Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu increases 10,000 caddies of power with each level, but this Dragon Elephant Prajna Golden Body Kung Fu is completely different. Each level of cultivation increases 100,000 caddies of divine power, which is 10 times that of the Dragon Elephant Prajna Kung Fu. If one reaches the peak of cultivation and achieves perfection, a single arm can explode with divine power exceeding 1,000,000 caddies. What is the concept of this? Even in the face of a congenitally perfect warrior, Su Hao can easily crush him without using any moves, relying on his powerful and invincible body, and it will not be more difficult than an adult obliterating a baby, it is completely in a different dimension. Okay, I have practiced the Dragon Elephant Prajna Golden Body Kung Fu to perfection, and then promoted the 9 Yin Manual to the perfection of the 9 chapters. Who else in this world can be my opponent? Su Hao's eyes shone with excitement. The golden body of the dragon elephant refines the body, and the 9 yin scriptures refines the qi. When the two are combined into one, if they both reach the perfect state, Su Hao will truly be almost invincible in the world, and he will rule the world. Start practicing. Without hesitation, Su Hao began to practice the dragon elephant prajna golden body skill. Originally, Su Hao had expected that the dragon elephant golden body was 10 times stronger than the dragon elephant prajna kung fu, and it stands to reason that it is also more difficult to practice, but in fact it is not. Call. Su Hao began to practice according to the method of the golden body of the dragon and elephant. His internal force gradually produced a trace of the power of the dragon and elephant, tempering his body. His face was stunned. Even if his aptitude for practicing martial arts was at the level of a 1,000-year-old monster, he shouldn't be able to practice so quickly, right? Could it be that the cultivation of the dragon elephant golden body complements my internal strength cultivation? The deeper my internal strength is, the more I can urge the dragon elephant power to train the body, and the better the cultivation of the dragon elephant golden body is. Easy. Su Hao's heart moved, and he thought of the crux of the problem. The inside and outside are integrated, the physical body and internal strength are complementary to each other, just like the innate martial artist's realm improves, the stellar energy grows, and the stellar energy will automatically temper the body. The difference between the dragon elephant golden body and the dragon elephant prajna skill is that it is different from the dragon elephant. If the golden body is cultivated by someone without foundation, it will be as difficult as reaching the sky. But if it is practiced by a person with deep inner strength, it will get twice the result with half the effort and make a huge difference in one day. Su Hao's 9 Yin Manual has been cultivated to the 6th chapter, which is characterized by deep internal force, endless life, and a solid foundation. Therefore, when cultivating the dragon elephant golden body, the internal force will generate the power of the dragon elephant and use it to temper the body, so the speed of cultivation will be so exaggerated, it can be said that there is no hindrance. This dragon elephant golden body is a perfect match for me. It can produce results in a short period of time. Su Hao was very excited. Without any hesitation, he began to practice hard work in closed doors again. The strong must be able to endure loneliness. Boom. Time passed, and a week later, there was a rumbling sound from Su Hao's body, and strands of dragon elephant power grew, tempering his bones, tendons, and muscles, causing him to transform and reach a stronger state. Power soared. Roar. In Su Hao's body, the roar of a dragon elephant resounded faintly in the palace, and the powerful aura permeated the palace. Su Hao had the feeling that he could smash a hill with a wave of his hand. The first floor of the dragon elephant golden body, success. Just by practicing the dragon elephant golden body to the first level, my physical strength has skyrocketed by 100,000 caddies, surpassing the average congenital perfect warrior. Su Hao felt his own strength. In just 1 week, his dragon elephant golden body had reached the first level, and his physical strength soared by 100,000 jin. Continue. Su Hao is very excited. This speed of progress is completely unbelievable in the eyes of others. Su Hao continued to practice. After half a month, the dragon elephant Prajna golden body kung fu broke into the second level, and after a month, he reached the third level. 1.5 months later, Su Hao's dragon elephant golden body broke into the fourth level. What a terrifying power! I can now unleash 450,000 jin of divine power with a single arm, completely surpassing the limit of my innate perfection. If I were to face that blood tyrant again, I would be able to kill him on the spot with one punch. Quote. The strength overflowing from Su Hao's body seemed to have condensed into substance. Feeling the condition of his body, Su Hao's eyes also showed a strong color of amazement. The golden body of the dragon elephant has been pushed up to the fourth level, and Su Hao has a supernatural power of 450,000 catties in one arm, which is more than 4 times that of ordinary congenital perfection. If he were to face the Blood King who was ranked in the heaven list, Su Hao wouldn't have to work so hard at all, and he wouldn't even need to use too many moves. He could kill him with his tyrannical body in just 1 or 2 encounters. But Su Hao also encountered new problems. My cultivation of the dragon elephant golden body has also slowed down. Is it because my internal strength can't keep up with the progress of the dragon elephant golden body? The deeper the inner strength, the faster the dragon elephant golden body will progress. Su Hao frowned slightly. After practicing the dragon elephant golden body kung fu to the 4th level, his progress speed was limited by his internal strength, and he began to slow down, and he could no longer be as fast as before. But the solution is also very simple. Push the 9 yin manual to chapter 7, chapter 8 or even the state of perfection. The inner strength is deep, and the speed of body training will naturally become faster. As for Su Hao who has mastered the Biming divine art, as long as there are enough innate warriors to provide him with internal strength, he can make rapid progress. Come on, go and call Master Shangguanan. Su Hao didn't hesitate, and immediately ordered the guards outside the palace to come to Shangguanan. Now that the royal family has said that they will try their best to meet all of Su Hao's demands, Su Hao will not be polite, and will directly go to Shangguanan and ask him to find some innate masters for him to absorb. Chapter 18. Mr. Su, do you have any errands? Soon Shangguanan rushed to the palace to meet Su Hao. He was not unhappy that Su Hao was looking for him, on the contrary, he was very enthusiastic. I'm not afraid that Su Hao will make a request, but I'm afraid that he won't. After all, Su Hao owes favors now, and in the future, Su Hao will repay the royal family when he achieves something. Su Hao said, I have mastered a star-absorbing method that absorbs other people's skills. I can use other people's skills for my own use. As long as there are enough warriors who absorb energy for me, my strength will improve very quickly. Since cooperating with the royal family, you have to show a little trust. Su Hao directly stated his purpose. Of course, Su Hao also has some reservations. He didn't say that the martial arts he mastered is the Biming divine art, which has no side effects, but that it is the star-absorbing method. Although the star-absorbing method is also famous, it is not without restrictions. Absorbing too much many other people's skills will be backlashed by different internal forces. A star-absorbing method. Naturally, Shangguanan had also heard of this martial art that could absorb other people's skills. Su Hao even asked Shangguanan to find some warriors to absorb skills for Su Hao. Su Hao himself is an innate warrior, which means that he must also absorb the skill of an innate warrior in order to progress rapidly. But innate warriors are not Chinese cabbage. Every innate warrior has an extraordinary status, and those who join the Great Xia dynasty are basically military officers and even generals, and it is impossible to sacrifice them to achieve Su Hao. Shangguanan thought about it. This is indeed a difficult task. In the end, Shangguanan gritted his teeth and said to Su Hao, Mr. Su, please wait for me for a day. I will ask Emperor Xia for instructions later, and I will give you an answer tomorrow. Okay. Su Hao was not in a hurry, knowing that even the royal family couldn't immediately conjure up innate warriors to absorb energy for him. Su Hao waited quietly, while Shangguanan left and went to Emperor Xia's palace to seek an audience. In a bedroom, a man wearing a dragon robe, with white hair and a majestic appearance, with a natural dignity and majesty, saw Shangguan Nan. This man was the Emperor Xia, the leader of the great Xia dynasty. Emperor Xia looks a little weak. He is over 100 years old this year, and he is already old. Even with the help of the life extension method, he is just an ordinary person, and he is almost at the end of his life. Also have to face birth, old age, sickness and death. Shangguan Iching, did you see me for something? Xia Huang asked in a hoarse voice. Shangguan Nan is Xia Huang's right-hand man and has won his trust. Your Majesty, it's like this. Shangguan Nan repeated Su Hao's previous request. After hearing this, Emperor Xia was a little surprised, and then pondered. Su Hao, this young man under the age of 20 was famous in Dasha more than a month ago. The deeds of 3 swords beheading Shui Wuan, the strong man on the Tianbang list, were so miraculous that they even alarmed the Emperor Xia, who asked him to personally order Shangguan to go south. To solicit, win over. But now Su Hao's request is quite difficult to fulfill. But soon Emperor Xia thought of something, and he said, didn't Cao Tiangong wipe out the Mokui sect not long ago? He also captured a large number of masters of the Mokui sect alive. It's better to go and practice kung fu with these masters of magic. As soon as these words came out, Shangguan Nan's eyes lit up. The Mokui sect, this is a very powerful demon sect, deeply rooted in the great Xia dynasty, making waves and even attracting Cao Tiangong's hand. Cao Tiangong is the patron saint of the great Xia dynasty. He is listed in the list of gods. He is the most powerful person in the royal family and the only dragon transformation grandmaster who is loyal to the royal family. Served several Emperor Xia. It is because of his presence that the royal family can maintain their reign. Normally, Cao Tiangong is practicing in seclusion, eager to go further. Not long ago, the cholera of the Mokui sect also made Cao Tiangong intentionally deter some of the demonic sects who were eyeing them, so he personally took action, entered the main altar of the Mokui sect, and killed them. A large number of masters of the Mokui sect died, and many innate powerhouses of the Mokui sect were captured alive, and they were imprisoned in the prison. Now Emperor Xia feels that it is just right to hand them over to Su Hao to practice kung fu and make the best use of everything. Cough cough cough. You go first. After finishing speaking, Emperor Xia coughed violently, and it took him a long time to recover and waved his hands. Your Majesty, take care of the dragon body. Seeing this scene, Shangguan Nan said something with concern, but he had no choice but to back down. The next morning, when Shangguan Nan saw Su Hao, he said with a smile, Mr. Su, there are many innate fighters of demonic ways imprisoned in the Sky Prison in our imperial city. I asked Emperor Xia for instructions, and he said that Mr. Su can enter the Sky Prison. Let them help Mr. Su to further his strength. Okay, let's go to the prison immediately. Su Hao's eyes lit up when he heard the words, and he couldn't wait to say. Sky Prison, this place is where serious offenders are detained. Those who are imprisoned are not powerful warriors, or some rebels who collude with the devil. The prison is located hundreds of meters underground and is heavily guarded. And at the lowest level of the Sky Prison, it is the place where the warriors of the Mokui sect are imprisoned. In the Sky Prison, all the warriors of the Mokui sect looked haggard, and their hands and feet were in shackles. They were all innate warriors, rare and strong among warriors. When they shot to kill their main altar, each of them was either beheaded on the spot or captured alive. But at this moment, there was a strange light in the eyes of a demon sect warrior. HMPH, do you think the heavenly prison plus Yikiruanjinzin can trap me? There are our people in this heavenly prison. A tall, muscular man was in a prison, his whole body was wrapped in metal chains, but his face was full of coldness. This muscular man has a lot of origins. He is the well-known deputy head of the Mokui sect, Mo Lai, and is ranked among the top fighters in the heaven list. Mo Lai is very powerful, but he had no choice but to face Cao Tiangong, the Grandmaster of Hualong, who was severely injured on the spot and captured alive. And in order to prevent these demon sect warriors from causing damage, each of them was fed with Yiki Ruanjin powder. After taking this medicine, the Gang Qi could hardly circulate, and the bones and tendons were weak. Even the innate warriors were no different from ordinary people. But among the prison guards in the Sky Prison, there is actually an undercover agent of the Mokui sect. It is not that simple to completely eradicate such a large sect. With the help of the undercover agent, the poison in Molai has been released. So there is no attack, just recuperating and waiting for the opportunity. Chapter 19. When the time is right, Molai will directly escape from the prison and rebuild the Mo Kui sect. Damn old eunuch Cao Tiangong, after you die, I will definitely turn the great Xia dynasty upside down. Molai gritted his teeth for a while when he thought of Cao Tiangong, the strong man on the god list who had injured him and captured him alive. He felt extremely resentful, but facing this kind of dragon master, he didn't have the idea of seeking revenge, but was ready to wait for Cao Tiangong. Cholera after death. Cao Tiangong is almost 1,000 years old, even the master of Hualong has reached his twilight years, and his life is not long. Somebody is coming. At this moment, Molly's ears moved, and he heard a series of footsteps coming from the passage. Mr. Su, this is the bottom of the sky prison, where the warriors of Mokui sect are imprisoned. At the entrance of the prison, Shengguan Nan said with a smile on his face, with guards following him. Well, the prison is very heavily guarded today. Su Hao nodded slightly. He was also amazed that there is such a place in the imperial city. This day prison is located hundreds of meters underground, and it can be said that it is impossible to escape if you are imprisoned here. Shengguan Nan also said proudly after hearing the words. In the history of the great Xia dynasty, unless the Emperor Xia gave an amnesty, the prisoners who were imprisoned in the heavenly prison would only end up being imprisoned there until they died. It is almost impossible to escape from the sky prison. The prisoners here are all warriors from the Mokui sect. Shengguan Nan then took Su Hao to the depths of the dungeon, and he said to Su Hao. Su Hao looked into the prisons, and sure enough, he saw that in these prisons, there were men with different appearances, but all of them exuded a fierce aura. They were all shackled and pale. These are all innate warriors, each of them is not only in shackles, but also takes Yikiruanjin powder, let alone escape from prison, even eating with all his strength. Okay, let's start with him and open the door. Su Hao didn't delay, and decided to start absorbing energy. He wanted to absorb the energy of these demon sect warriors. Yes. A jailer stepped forward respectfully, took out a key and opened the door of the first prison. Inside the door was a man with a fierce face. Facing this fierce man, the jailer was obviously a little afraid. He whispered to Su Hao. My lord, he is Zhang Feng, an innate martial artist of the Mokui sect. He once slaughtered an elite army of thousands of people by himself. Trapped here now, but please be careful. This demon sect warrior Zhang Feng is a well-known innate warrior of the demonic Tao. His strength is not weak, and he is extremely murderous. Even if he is imprisoned, ordinary people are afraid of such figures. Well, I see. Su Hao nodded, and walked straight into the open prison door. Not to mention being trapped here, even in its heyday, Su Hao didn't pay attention to Zhang Feng at all. Stinky boy, what do you want to do? Don't disturb my rest. Get away. Zhang Feng, who was leaning against the corner, opened his eyes. When he saw Su Hao approaching, he shouted angrily and threatened fiercely. A prisoner is still so arrogant. Seeing this, Su Hao raised his brows slightly, and stretched out his hand, grabbed Zhang Feng's shoulder, and then activated the Beiming divine art to absorb the cultivation base in Zhang Feng's body. What? He's sucking my energy. Zhang Feng's expression changed drastically. He could feel the internal force in his body pouring out like a flood that opened the gate. Bastard. Stop it. Stop it. Zhang Feng cursed loudly, but his whole body was limp and weak, and he had no possibility of resisting at all. He could only watch helplessly as his hard work was continuously sucked away. Not long after, Zhang Feng lost the strength to yell and curse, and he fell limply on the ground, his eyes turned white, and his kung fu was completely sucked by Su Hao. It's not bad. The cultivation base is around the 6th level of innate. Su Hao felt the internal force sucked in. He nodded in satisfaction. There are still 7 or 8 innate fighters from the demon sect waiting for him to suck it in. Mo Lai, who was in the opposite prison, saw all this scene in his eyes, and his face became gloomy. This kid is using a martial art similar to the star-absorbing method to absorb their skills. It seems, we have to leave. Mo Lai's skills have already recovered, and the poison he was poisoned was also lifted with the help of the Mozong undercover agent. He is only in the jail to heal his injuries. After all, once he escapes, it will definitely alarm the entire imperial city. Maybe Cao Tiangong will to personally attack and kill him. He had to ensure that his state reached its peak before fleeing. But what I didn't expect was that an unknown boy entered the sky prison, and he wanted to use them, the demon sect warriors, to practice kung fu, so that sooner or later Su Hao would find him, and at that time, he would also expose the fact that his kung fu had recovered. Very good. Then let's make a fuss today. A scarlet light flickered in Mo Lai's eyes, and his injuries had almost healed, almost the same as when he was at his peak. Coupled with the appearance of Su Hao, Mo Lai had to escape from prison early. At this time, Shangguanan and the accompanying jailers felt something in the sky prison, and they all looked towards the prison where Mo Lai was being held. Mo Lai, who was bound by iron chains as thick as arms, had stood up from the ground, his eyes were shining with scarlet light, his black hair could not move automatically, and his reputation was extraordinary. Not good. Seeing this scene, Shangguanan and the others had a vague premonition. Ka ka ka. Sure enough, in the next second, a series of metal shattering sounds sounded, and Mo Lai shook his arms vigorously, and the thick iron chains that bound him one after another were all shattered, and the shattered metal scattered all over the place. Land. It's Mo Lai. Mo Lai is out of trouble. All the jailers saw this scene with disbelief and fear on their faces. It is unbelievable why Mo Lai, who is poisonous in his body, can break free from the shackles, but what is frightening is that Mo Lai is a world-renowned big devil, a super strong man who is ranked in the sky, and once he escapes, blood will flow into rivers, no one present can stop it. Chapter 20. Quick. Notify the outside and lower the gate. A jailer exclaimed, wanting to notify the people outside. Su Hao also looked at the scene in front of him in surprise. How could he escape from jail if he did some magic tricks? Moreover, this tall and fierce man is not an ordinary innate strong man, and the slightest breath revealed by him is far above the blood tyrant. Crack. Creak. Mo Lai broke the shackles that bound him, moved his body, and then strode to the door of the prison. Facing the metal prison door, he stretched out his hand and grabbed the metal railing. The metal railings with thick legs were torn apart, twisted and broken like tree branches, and a passage for people to pass was torn out. Mr. Su, leave. Let's leave quickly. This person is Mo Lai, the deputy suzerain of the Mokui sect. His strength is far beyond that of the Blood Overlord. He ranks 35th on the list. Seeing Mo Lai coming out of the broken prison door, Shangguanan felt a chill hit his heart, and hurriedly said to Su Hao. Mo Lai, the 35th great devil in the heaven list, is a rare powerhouse in the world. In the entire imperial city, only Cao Tiangong and even a few other super powerhouses have the ability to contend with him. As for Su Hao, he moved the imperial city more than a month ago and killed the blood tyrant, but the blood tyrant ranked more than 100, while Mo Lai ranked high. The three blood tyrants together may not be the opponent of Mo Lai. Su Hao is definitely hard to beat. So Shangguanan hurriedly urged Su Hao to leave quickly. Go. You can't go anywhere without my permission. However, Mo Lai spoke slowly at this moment, his eyes gleamed fiercely, and he stared straight at Su Hao. Just now, Mo Lai saw with his own eyes that Su Hao sucked up all the skills of one of his subordinates, and was going to use their Mokui sect powerhouses to practice, which forced Mo Lai to escape from prison in advance. Spare Su Hao. Before escaping from prison, he wanted to kill this kid. The vice suzerain's skills have recovered. Great. The deputy suzerain save us. In the rest of the prisons, the innate warriors of the Mokui sect were all overjoyed when they saw Mo Lai escape from the trap, shouting again and again, Mo Lai escaped, and they also had a chance to leave this prison. Facing Mo Lai, Su Hao looked calm. He looked at Mo Lai and said calmly, Mo Lai, I advise you to go back to where you should be, or I will break all your bones. As soon as these words came out, the corners of Shangguanan and the jailers beside him twitched, their faces full of astonishment. Actually talking to Mo Lai like that. Is he a fool? Most of these jailers didn't know Su Hao's identity, they just thought he was a member of the noble royal family. Seeing him talking like this to Mo Lai, who had obviously recovered to his peak state and was still out of trouble, he felt that Su Hao was ignorant. Now, it's over. I hope that with Su Hao's strength, Mo Lai can be stopped, so that other strong men can come in time. Shangguan Nan secretly groaned. He only hoped that Su Hao would be able to fight against Mo Lai for a while, and wait for the top experts guarding the imperial city to come and take down Mo Lai together. Boy, you really don't know how to live or die. I will break every inch of your bones. There is a chilling murderous look in Mo Lai's eyes. He is the majestic deputy master of the Mokui sect, and he is in the world. It is impossible to be captured by the master of Hualong, but Su Hao, a little ghost who came out of nowhere, unexpectedly, how dare you be so disrespectful to yourself? Boom. Mo Lai suddenly moved. He took a step forward. His tall and burly body was as if passing through the void, instantly spanning a distance of nearly 10 meters, and appeared in front of Su Hao, with a big hand reaching out, grabbing it like lightning, touching Su Hao's shoulder. Su Hao seemed to be caught without realizing it. A grin appeared on Mo Lai's face. He grabbed Su Hao's shoulder and exerted strength with 5 fingers, trying to crush Su Hao's shoulder alive, making the boy pay the most painful price. But what surprised Mo Lai was that under the squeeze, his 5 fingers were unable to shake Su Hao's shoulder. With the power of Mo Lai, even a ball of fine steel can be crushed and shattered. Su Hao's flesh and blood body seems to be tougher and stronger than fine steel. Boom. Su Hao shook his shoulders vigorously, and an unimaginable force erupted, and Mo Lai uncontrollably staggered back 5 or 6 steps before stopping his retreat. This repelled Mo Lai. Shangguanan and the others were a little surprised when they saw this scene. They saw that Mo Lai grabbed Su Hao's shoulder, but the next moment he was thrown flying. Seeing the disbelief on Mo Lai's face, Su Hao said coldly, "Are you rubbing my shoulders? Use some force." Su Hao's words undoubtedly pierced Mo Lai's heart. Being so scorned by an unknown brat, Mo Lai's eyes were red, and he roared crazily, "Stinky boy! I want you to stand in front of me. Kneel down. I will break your limbs, abolish your martial arts, and make you a useless person for the rest of your life." Mo Lai was completely insane. He originally planned to kill Su Hao, but now he changed his mind and wanted to destroy Su Hao. Ka ka ka. Amidst the roar, Mo Lai's huge and exaggerated aura surged out. The ground under his oppressive feet was sunken, and his already tall body swelled a circle at this moment, raised a section, and his height exceeded 2 meters, with muscles all over his body. As if made of poured steel, the clothes on the upper body were stretched to pieces. At this time, Mo Lai and Mo Wei are so powerful that they will undoubtedly reveal the majesty of the 35th powerhouse in the heaven list. Den den den. The ferocious force that came to their faces made Shangguan Nan and the others stagger and retreat. Under the pressure, some jailers even had shortness of breath, and their mouths and noses were full of blood, and they almost fainted. Kui Mo fist. Amidst the roar, Mo Lai strode towards Su Hao in big strides. He covered a distance of 6 or 7 meters in 1 or 2 steps. Su Hao. Roar. When this punch came out, it seemed like a demon god was roaring, resounding throughout the prison. Even before the fist hit, there was a terrifying pressure rushing towards the face. The squeezed air was distorted, and the oppressor could not breathe, can't dodge. Mo Lai's punch is very terrifying. It is not something that ordinary warriors can resist. Even if it is a small hill in front of him, this punch can smash it to pieces. However, facing Mo Lai's punch, Su Hao stretched out a palm and grabbed it lightly. Boom. Fists and palms collided, and the violent roar exploded, reverberating endlessly in the underground space, shaking several jailers who were closer to each other, screaming. Their eardrums were shattered, and blood overflowed. Boom. What is even more exaggerated is that the strength spreads to the surroundings. The bricks and stones on the ground are shaken off the ground, sweeping towards the surroundings, hitting the metal, denting and distorting the prison made of metal by the bombardment. This terrifying scene is horrifying. It is really hard to imagine that this is the power that a flesh and blood body can erupt. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.